Good morning, Indu.
Morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. We'll start, ma'am.
This conference will now be recorded.
வருகை தந்து This is an other use case which are trying to video number plate recognition. It's an automatic number plate recognition. So the current scenario where there is a security
Hello, Indu. Hello, Indumati. Indumati. Hello, is Indu there? Indumati. Hello,
morning,
Indu.
ma'am.
Is it Indumati?
No, ma'am. This is Jasmine.
Ask Indumati to talk to me.
Okay, ma'am.
Indu.
Hello, ma'am. Dear participants, we welcome you all for this wonderful webinar. You are requested to mute your mic and camera.
Participants, kindly mute your mic and camera. When you join itself, you are supposed to mute your mic and camera. I think Jasmine, ma'am, are you ready? Miss Indumati, Sir has joined.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Shall we start, ma'am?
Hello, we can start, madam.
Morning, everyone. I hope all are safe and doing good. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. I welcome you all for this wonderful webinar on DevOps Automation SDET. If you have any questions during presentation, please post them into chat box in GoToMeeting and YouTube. We will have time for questions at the end of the session. Now, I request Dr. Nalini Joseph, Vice Principal and HOD of EC Department, Laila Institute of Technology, to give the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning. This is Dr. Nalini Joseph, convener of this webinar from Laila Institute of Technology. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all the participants on behalf of our management, administrator, principal, and faculty members. I joined together with our coordinators to welcome the speaker of today's session, an energetic, vibrant, dynamic technologist working as senior architect in Exava Technologies USA, is none other than Mr. Vishnu Prakash, who has accepted our invitation to conduct this webinar. Welcome, Mr. Vishnu. The day is yours. As there will be a lot of takeaway for the teaching fraternity and the student community in the field of software testing methodologies. In this contest, I congratulate and appreciate the coordinators, faculty of ECE, and all our professional friends who made this webinar possible. Really, this lockdown had enabled us to dive into the digital teaching techniques, and our department of ECE has geared up to that DTT. Once again, I welcome the speaker and all the participants for this technical webinar. Happy learning to all. Thank you. Over to Jasmine.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I request Mrs. Priyadarshini, Assistant Professor, EC Department, to introduce our speaker. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, all. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker, Mr. Vishnu Prakash Kalaichilvan, who is a Senior Technical Architect in Hexaway Technologies Limited, USA. He has total of more than 13 years of experience in IT industry across web application, mobile application, automation, and testing streams. He is experienced and enriched in software testing on various domains such as industrial, telecommunications, airways, mortgage, and financial domains. He has won a lot of awards and achievements as follows. Few of his awards are Young Entrepreneur Award by Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute, ACE Award, Star Award, Spot Award, and the Most Valuable Person Award. And few of his achievements are Pioneer to create Selenium automation framework and Pioneer to create mobile testing, automation solutions, and Center of Excellence. We proudly welcome you to our webinar, sir. Thank you. Over to Jasmine, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, most awaited session of the day. Let us go to enhance our knowledge in DevOps Automation SDET. Now I request Mr. Vishnu Prakash to take us into the journey. Over to you, sir.
Thank you all. Thanks for your warm welcome. I really appreciate all of your time. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really honored, and I have a high level idea about what DevOps and testing and automation. Let me jump into the presentation right away. So hope you all able to see my presentation. That.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So with no further delay, I will jump into the table of content, what we are going to see today. So we are going to see what is software testing and what is available in the software industry and IT industry, and what is manual testing versus automation testing, what are the why we go for automation testing, and what is software testing life cycle. Similarly, what is test methodologies are available, what are the major methodologies we are going to see today, and the DevOps in detail. So these are the high level topics we are going to cover today. I request all of you to use the mute option so that the others will not get disturbed. And please note down all your questions during this session and post your questions in the chat window. At the end of the session, we will answer it. Most of the questions might be answered in the next slides. And let me know if I'm going fast so that we can follow up with the slides as well. And all this, just a declaration, all these images and photos used in this presentation are taken from the internet. There's no copyright. Thanks for, and credit goes to the image owners and authors. So let's jump into the topic actually. So what is software testing? So hope you all know by this time, but I just want to touch at the very high level what is software testing. So first let's see what is software. So software is set of a functionality which has multiple modules which is developed based on the business requirement. So there are lots and lots of to see. We will be checking each and every functionality of a software, and we will make sure whether it is designed based on the business requirement or not. So, and we will be testing thoroughly in and out so that there is no defects or failures in the software in any kind of applications. So what are the software testing types are available? So at the high level, it is categorized as two: functional testing and non-functional testing. So let's see what are the functional testing. Say sanity or smoke testing. Basically, let me take some example from here so that we all follow what I'm talking about. Let's say we have our mobile application, and today we use a lot of social networks. So let me take our WhatsApp is one of the software example today. So we have a software installed in our mobile, which is WhatsApp, and we are testing whether it is able to connect to the internet or not, whether I'm able to send messages and receive message or not, and whether I'm able to do a calling using WhatsApp or not. So this is the very basic operation of WhatsApp. So if we test the basic operation, that is called as smoke test or sanity testing. And regression testing. Regression testing, nothing but the same functionality we are testing over and over again whenever the new functionality is added or if some module is changed. Say previously we don't have call operations in WhatsApp. We just had only chat, and then group chat has been created. So that is a new functionality added, and then the call has been added. So, and that's a new technology. Whenever we are incorporating any new features in the application, we need to make sure the existing functionality is working fine or not. So we are testing the same thing, and whether it is working fine or not, if we are checking, that is called as regression testing. So similarly, the GUI testing. GUI is nothing but graphical user interface, and we are testing whether we are able to touch and swipe and move everything in the application. So that is the interaction between the application and human. So that is one. And another one is system integration testing. So this is one of the platform or environment we used to call, where internally it will be tested whether all this modules and systems are working fine or not. So then it will be moved to the UAT environment, which is user acceptance testing. Once it is past the SIT state, we will be testing everything in UAT state. And once UAT state is tested, we will be testing the end-to-end functionality, whether all the functionality is working fine or not. And white box testing and black box testing. Between these two testing, what is the difference is, like white box is nothing but we know inside what is the operations going on, where we are storing, what are the web services are, or any services are communicating each other. So that will be tested in detail, is called as white box testing. Black box testing is nothing but I have a black box, I don't know what is inside. So whether that major functionality is working, even if kid is taking that software and testing it. That's how the black box testing is done. And let's move on to the non-functional testing. A non-functional testing, nothing but the security testing, which I will project first to know what it is called as non-functional. So all this functional testing we see is testing the modules whichever seen by the customer or user. But non-functional is nothing but internally how it is behaving, how it is vulnerable to the any hacking or attacking. So whether our data is secured or not. So all this kind of testing is called a security testing. We'll be testing that. And usability testing, whether I can able to use it anywhere, low bandwidth, high bandwidth, less internet, and no internet, so something like that. So whether I'm able to perform one application operation when other applications are trying to interact. So how the usability is easy. And disaster recovery. So probably we can take our current situation. We have this pandemic situation where we thought if we are not going out, if we are not interacting with people, we cannot do anything in our life. But that has changed totally. This is a disaster. And we are surviving in our situation, making sure all this internet application and all this other communication devices are working fine. So similarly, any softwares or any services Right now, the banking domains are working perfectly without any issues because of the internet. And right now, we are talking all over the world through the internet, where we are testing that as well. So this is one kind of disaster recovery testing as well. So next is performance. This is again a vast area where multiple testings are done, like load testing, how much users I can test for one application. Say for example, right now in YouTube we are logging in with tons and tons of user all over the world to see any links, right? So something like that, if millions of people are accessing, whether I'm able to sustain my software or not. So that is one, load testing. Another one is volume testing. Similarly, stress testing, scalability, how big I can scale my softwares and things like that. So we have different kind of testing. There's lots and lots of names out there. So these are the major functional and non-functional testing we are going to cover in our any testing cycles. So let me go to the next slide, which is the different testing roles in our IT industry and software. First is manual testing, where all the functionalities, software systems, and everything is tested by a human user, where he will be doing all this operations in a particular resource, like say example software, mobile, laptop, and things like that. Similarly, what is automation? Automation is nothing but whatever manual user is doing that can be automated and run as a program. So there is no human interaction is needed once it is created. So that is called as automation role. So another one is performance, where I told about the security and reliability testing, right? So all the speed, response time, reliability, usages, scalability, all this are tested in performance, where it will be sent out to the world where millions of people can use, and our software is still working fine. So that is performance testing. Another one is security, uh, where our privacy data are taken care seriously, and our security passwords and everything is taken care, not going to the hackers or something like that. So that is security testing. Another one is backend, where all this data are stored in the servers, and we need to make sure that service is really good and taking care of millions and trillions of data in the, so we don't come across any deadlocks or data corruptions or data loss. So basically all this databases are tested in the backend. So that is called as backend testing. So these are the 5 major positions we will be having in our software industry and IT industry. This is where we are going to play around in our topics today. So let's see what is manual testing versus automation testing. So manual testing is nothing but a human user interacting with any functional and non-functional testing to test the software. So basically he will be doing all this kind of testing, whatever we talked about. So subset of functional testing as well as non-functional testing will be tested by a human user actually. So what are the disadvantages of user testing the software or any application? So basically, it takes more time to a user to do some operation. Say if you want to do 100 operation, he cannot do in the same time. So obviously, one by one he need to do. So it will take time, and obviously the resources also consumed for all this time. And similarly, if we are repeating the same testing multiple times, we might lose our concentration and we will be leaving the defect outside in the world. So that defect slippage is also there as a disadvantage. So if we have all this taken care, so everything will be reliable, right? So that is where the automation come into play. So where the automation testing is done to decrease the cost overall, right? So the time and the resource, whichever we taking, like laptop, softwares, time, internet, resources, everything, right? So in all aspect we can decrease the cost if we use automation. Similarly, we can increase the quality once the program is written, and if we make sure everything's working fine, it is going to work for hundreds of time, thousands of time, or millions of times we are executing. So increase quality. And another one is reliability. If we have thousands of millions of data that we need to work on, so say for example, let me take a small example. If we are registering to a any courses, right? So it'll have say 100 fields of data where you need to input your name till whatever details they are asking. We need to fill in all the forms, right? Say for example, right now we have the e-pass where we need to take through the internet, so it has lots and lots of data that getting it from the user. So if that is automated, it will be automatically filled in quickly in few minutes instead of taking a huge time by the manual user. So to achieve the speed and efficiency, we are using automation. So who is automation tester? So who is really skilled in all different kind of programming language and foundation of testing tools, and he is transforming whatever manual process that can be done by a human to a automation script where it can be executed through a machine, and really expert in troubleshooting techniques where whatever issues coming up in the middle or in the runtime or anytime, so he or she need to go inside that and then resolve the technical issue and bring back to the normal. So knowledge on different development methodologies, which is currently up to the market. So if he have all the skill set, he can be called as automation tester. So let's see what is testing lifecycle, STLC, software testing lifecycle. So before going to the software testing lifecycle, I would like to present what is software development lifecycle. First, we need to develop anything, right? Before we need to test anything. So the development life cycle is nothing but where a new requirement is created, any business requirement that will be, say for example, let's take the WhatsApp example again. So if I want to have the call features or status features where I need to record some audio and send it to somebody, so all these different kind of things are called as requirement. And we will next, it goes to the design stage where we will be detailedly writing what need to be there, what need to be done. If I click on so and so button, what should be happening. So we'll be writing detailed requirement in this one in the design phase. Then development phase, we will be giving to the developer where who will write the code and then develop the software.
Hello, Vishnu, your audio is not coming, sir. Your voice is not audible, Vishnu.
Oh, okay. How about now? Sorry, somehow
Now
the
it's
mute
now
button
it's
came.
coming.
Okay, sorry. So
Okay.
where did we missed? Did I muted for a long time?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Yeah,
no. Just you started this screen.
perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. So yeah, so we are looking into software development life cycle, and then now we move to the software testing life cycle. So in software testing, we saw the requirement analysis and the testing planning stage. And then we have the test design stage where we plan and design the test cases. Say for example, if I want to test the WhatsApp, so I'll be saying like, no, click on the WhatsApp icon, it should open. So something like that. Each and every step is designed here, and environment is set up. So we have different environment. I'll be covering the later stage in the different slides. So for each and every environment, we need to have all the setups ready, softwares, infrastructure, and everything need to be there so that we can actually test the software. So this is the last stage, test execution. So at the high level, right? So if we will be categorizing into 4 stages basically. So requirement stage, planning stage, testing, and finally completing and moving to the production. Okay. So to do all the stuff, there are different kind of methodologies available. So let's see now at the high level, what are the starting points. So we have the business requirement where the customer is going to define the business requirement, and then it it is going on. There was a lot of gap, lot of flaws, lot of defects. So to to address this gap between these stages, right? That is where the new methodology came. So to address gap between the customer and developer, that is where we got agile and scrum. So here the business people, developer and tester will sit together and then make sure everything is working fine. So previously the customer will be having all this requirement in the waterfall model, and if the developer has any doubt and if the tester has find something major defect, they need to go back to the customer and then change everything and redo all the works whatever they done for months. But when the agile and scrum methodology is introduced, whatever changes happening right there, say it will transform to particles like a robot, and then we need to make sure okay all the changes are tested and then make sure it is go back to as a car, so something like that. So whatever changes are happening, we need to test it quickly and finish that part. So that is the agile. So we are filling the gap between the customer and the developers. So let's say everything is working fine and we created the right software, but we need to test it how it is working in the real environment. That is where a gap between the developers and operations. So that is where our DevOps come into play. So it's fast and lots of integration is done here. So let's see what are these things we are going to see in the detail. Sorry. So obviously the waterfall method is not in use nowadays. So if you see any software testing field or any software industry, so agile and DevOps is the major methodologies performed. So let's see what is agile. So we have product backlog. So this is the high level diagram, I would say. So whatever we have discussed in the previous slide, I would break down into more detail. So product backlog. Product backlog is nothing but, let's take the same WhatsApp example, right? So we have multiple functionalities, and every functionality is a user story or a story in the paper at the starting stage. It was never developed, right? So that is the customer or business people will do. So they will write all this requirement, that is called as backlog. So if I do it everything all together, I'm not going to have a proper deliverable at the end. It might have any issues. So instead of going through all the user stories, we will be taking very smaller and which will be making as a viable product. Okay, so that is called as sprint backlog. Say I'm going to develop a WhatsApp software, right? So I may first need to write the code to launch it and then have a chat window and type it something and then record an audio, right? So if I take these functionality all together, I cannot write everything at the same time. So the sprint backlog will be taken as small chunk of the user story. So okay, let me first create the application. It should launch and open. That's it. That is one backlog. And next is like, okay, so if I go into the application, I need to see the multiple chats and chat window. So if I go to the uh, chat window, if I type on the type field, the keyboard should pop up. So this is another user story, something like that. We have chunks of backlogs taken as a sprint. What is sprint? Sprint is nothing but any viable product that we can make out of it, where at the end it can be integrated with all other product and make as one deliverable, right? So if I take one user story and if my team is taking one multiple user story, the sprint need to be completed in 2 to 3 weeks. That is called a sprint. So every 2 to 3 weeks, we will be taking a set of work and then make sure that is completed and delivered. So how we are going to make sure in 2 to 3 weeks product? For that, we have a 24 hours daily scrum call. Okay, so where business people will be sitting, developers also will be sitting, and testers will be also sitting together and making sure, okay, so these are my activities today, and these are the activities performed yesterday, and I don't have any issue, and this is my issue, probably you need to help. So every day they will be communicating to each other and making sure at the end of 2 to 3 weeks we will have a set of deliverables created, what we take as a sprint backlog. So basically this entire thing is repeated every 2 to 3 weeks until we complete the product. So that is called as agile development, where this orange area, right? So development cycle, every sprint is created multiple times and we will be integrating it, testing it, and will going back to every sprint is called as one iteration. So similarly, what is the next track and what is the next iteration. So every sprint is called as one iteration. So similarly, multiple iteration taken and multiple deliverables are done. At the end, it will be moved to the and the tester. Everybody works together to make one product. This is called as agile methodology. So let's move to the next DevOps methodology. What is DevOps methodology? Like we saw in the previous slide, so there is a developer and tester and the operational and IT team. So instead of they working separately, so development and the operations, they both will be working together in a cycle. That is what DevOps means. So we are uh, reducing the gap between the development and operation by having all this working together through the software. So let's see like what are the terminologies we are going to use are majorly used in this DevOps methodology. So they used to say shift left approach. So what shift left approach? So as we saw the SDLC previously, right? Like requirement and then design and then development and then testing, right? Where in the agile methodology, the design, development and testing is happening all together at the same time. So what is shift left? The testing phase is not only on the development side. We also move to the design phase where the business they are designing any product backlogs or business requirement, right? Separate environment and testers will work in a separate environment. So that is called as SIT environment, where the system integration testings are done once the developer push their code into a different environment. So there is another UAT. So once the basic testing is done, we need to make sure, okay, so as user acceptance testing, so UAT is working fine or not. So here where we will test the entire functionality all together and once everything is working fine, we will be moving to the prod. Prod is nothing but the production environment where it is thrown up to the live in the internet, so it will be available for the end customer or end users. So these are the major environment and major stages we see in any software development lifecycle. So what is pipeline? So between these two environments, right, we are connecting through a software bridge, which will make sure everything is flowing from dev to SIT. Similarly, from SIT to UAT. Similarly, UAT to prod. So how these connections are made, how this software is flowing, we will be seeing in the coming slides. So basically, we will call it as continuous integration and continuous delivery. So continuous integration, so continuous delivery and deployment, what it is, we will see. And the another big terminology is continuous monitoring. So if you see in the above picture, right? So the continuous feedback in the green arrow, so that is something is connecting the operations and the development and tests, where metrics say how many patients are no successfully no come out of this COVID situation, and how many patients are increasing every day, and how many are affected, and all this data are continuously monitored and presented as a data. So with that data, we will be making sure, yeah, this situation is not good, we should not go out, we should stay home and safe, right? So that is something, the continuous monitoring. So that is happening in the software as well. So I can explain you further in the coming slides. So what is CI/CD? Continuous integration and continuous development. So before seeing that continuous development, we need to see what is version control system. So as we saw the first stage, right, where the developers write the code and then make sure everything is created as a software, and we are creating. So once version 1, a beta version is there, okay, and if I'm doing something tomorrow, or if my team is doing something next month, I need to make sure my old code is also there and nothing is lost. That is where the version control system is coming into the picture, where developers check in the code and go to this version control system and make sure that is saved as a history. And if I'm working something tomorrow, and that is going to be another history. So similarly, all this histories, days and months and years of works are saved in version controlling system. So I can go back to any date, any history, and pull that particular stage's code to any point of time. So that is called as version controlling system. So let's see how this is done. So the developer build the code, right? So once everything is built, it will be reviewed through the system. So there are multiple softwares are available where no, the code reviews are done, whether that code is created perfectly, say whatever language we are taking. So if it is Java, if it is VB or C Sharp, whatever language, are we following the right standards, and then we are writing the right code so that it will not break in the future. All this are reviewed through the system, and it will be pushed to the integration testing, where the basic integration testings are done, uh, where all these modules are working together or not, like an handshake. So like a video game, we will be plug and play, right? So if I buy some console and the joystick separately, so I need to connect and then it should start working. So something that integration test once everything is reviewed. So similarly, once everything is integrated, we need to see as a unit it is working or not. So that is called as unit testing. So after that unit testing, okay, so everything is working fine, so I don't want to do that again and again. So let's automate that. So that will be automated and kept as a separate script where it can be triggered any point of time. And at this automation test stage, once everything tested, everything is passed, we are going to deploy to another stage. So these are the major stages in our software development cycle internally in depth. So we have this many stages. So let's observe this one by one. Let's see what is continuous integration. So whenever a developer doing some functionality, whenever the sprint log is taken, and if I'm writing some code and then checking in, right? So that every days of work is checked in every day to the versioning control system. So once it is done, once it is checked into the versioning control system, it will be automatically packaging and building and testing. It will go to one by stage. So this continuous integration, whenever we are talking about continuous integration, that means build, review, integration, and pushing to the test is called as continuous integration. So next is continuous delivery. What is continuous delivery? We are going to trigger manually to push, which means the deploying to different environment. We saw in the previous slide, right? There is SIT environment, UAT environment, and prod environment. So to go to these environment, we are going to push it manually. That is called as continuous delivery. Next is continuous deployment. So continuous deployment is nothing but automatically deploying till the production environment. So if you see all this, right, this is going to cover the continuous delivery and deployment part. So now we come to the final stage, which is continuous pipeline. As on the previous slide, development, SIT, UAT, and prod, and it is going to be continuously connected and automatically deployed to each and every environment. So dev, SIT, UAT, prod, everything is automatically connected with all these changes. So whenever the developer is, excuse me, whenever the developer is going to check in the code, it is going to start building, reviewing, integrate, test it automatically, and then deploy to next environment. So this is taken care by continuous pipeline. So let me move to the next slide. So sorry, excuse me, let me drink some water. Thank you. So what is SDET in the DevOps methodology? So SDET is nothing but software development engineer in testing. So previously the tester is just write some code and test it and then go off. But right now, since the shift left approach is there, the tester is need to learn equal to the developer uh, to understand everything internally, what is going on, how they are writing, how the systems are integrating, how the things are stored, how the things are working in the internet or outside in the world. So all this knowledge need to be taken care by a tester. That is called as SDET. So software developer engineer in test. So who is called as DevOps SDET engineer? So at the high level, basically, these are the minimal software that a person need to know to call him as SDAT, him or her as a SDAT. So first is DevOps tools like Git, where the version control is taken care. We will be checking in all the codes in here. Next is Jenkins, where the build deployment tools are taken care, and Ansible, Docker. Docker is nothing but the containerization, like the environment what we talked, right? SIT, UAT, prod, dev, right? All these different environments are separated in a software through Docker. We can set up things there. So similarly, all this are connected through cloud softwares. So major softwares are like AWS and Azure, which is from Microsoft, and the Splunk, which is a monitoring tool, and another one is the software testing tool. So all this are used for the DevOps tools. And software testing, how we are going to do the software testing through automation. So Selenium WebDriver is a major software testing tool right now. It has played a huge market because it's an open source tool. And next one is Cucumber. So this agile and DevOps, where we are going to work together with the business people, right? So where this Cucumber plays a major role there, where business people will also come into Cucumber and then write their requirements, and then based on that we will be writing the code in Selenium. So all these codes are integrated and built using the Maven and Gradle tool. It is another set of tools where Eclipse, Java, JUnits are used to make sure all this are connected and working together. So Maven and Gradle, nothing but the dependency tool. So we have multiple softwares that need to work together to achieve a software as a product, right? So how these multiple products or plugins are working together is taken care by this Maven and Gradle deployment tool, which will take care of the dependencies. So another one is like similarly, all the softwares are free, but this TFS and C#, these are all from the Microsoft, where it is like little cost oriented. Yeah. So next is let's see what is DevOps solution. So at the end, whatever we have saw all these different structures, right? Basically, DevOps solution is nothing but a framework which going to give you the solution to achieve this dev and operational working together. So we can achieve this by various combination of softwares which is available in the market. So it is not what we saw, only these softwares or only these tools, only these automation tools are going to work together. No, it's a DevOps is a solution, it's a framework where we will be having multiple tools is selected based on a different organization and different needs, and they will be creating their own DevOps solutions. So based on the return of investment, say for example, if I have a software company, I have so and so budget, I'm going to run a project for so and so years, so I need to have my own investment. So whether I will be achieve that goal and earn more from it, so that is something we need to calculate in ROI. So similarly, how long I'm going to run the business, how long I'm going to maintain that software. So based on that, we can choose a tool, whether I need to go with the low cost tool or high cost tool, and make sure there's a lot of supports and things are available. In the future, if I want to scale it bigger as a very big business worldwide, so I need to make sure those supports are given by a software and technology. So basically out in the market, so there is lots and lots of tools are available to achieve this DevOps solution as a framework. So what is the major benefits of DevOps? So improved product quality, where we are going to identify all these build issues like in the earlier stage, so that everything is taken care. Initially there was no failure at the end. All the failures are taken care at the starting stage and then fixed it, so our agility is increased. Similarly, the quality of the product is taken care excuse me. So and we have the right code base which is really high in quality. And another one is all this overhead on the developers and deployment process, all this are taken care by the automatic softwares, automatic solutions, or automatic frameworks. So the actual user or actual people will concentrate more on innovation, so that we can have more advanced product in the futures. So all these small things are taken care automatically, and everything is working all together fast. So at the high level, it's a happy development team, happy functional team, happy product owner, and happy sponsors and stakeholders. Finally, happy customer at the end. So that's it. If you want to learn all these things and get certified to be a SDET in the future, so these are the certification path I would give you. So the major player currently in the market is like AWS, Amazon Web Services. So we have different levels of certification, where in the foundational level, the practitioner certifications are there. On the associate level, we have the system ops, developers, and solution architecture. And on the professional level, we have the DevOps engineer and the solution architect. So this is on the Amazon Web Services. Similarly, we have the Microsoft Azure certification, so where you will be certified as DevOps Engineer Expert, and these are the paths to that. And I have given the links to the certification pages as well. And the third major player in this market is Google Cloud. Again, the cloud engineer at the associate level, and the professional level, we have the DevOps engineer and collaboration engineer. So these are the certification. If you want to go and grab it and learn all this major frameworks and solution. So now I'll jump to the question and answer session. Before going to the question and answer, I would give some tips and things for our general lifestyle. So do meditate, keep you healthy every day, and do exercise, make you fit. So eat healthy. So all this are going to help you to improve your immune system to currently fight this pandemic situation. So stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for your great time.
Thank
Vishnu,
you,
kind
sir.
before the certificate you had a in this project that once again.
Yeah, I really
Thank
appreciate
you,
all
sir.
your patience and time. Thank you.
Thanks for the wonderful session, sir. This was an extremely informative and insightful and above all valuable session. Now we have come to query session. Many participants are posting their questions in chat box. I will hand it over to Ms. Stefina, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE for GoToMeeting queries. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for a very informative session on DevOps. I have picked up a few questions for you to answer. The first question is from Mr. Kiran, and the question is, what is the role of mechanical engineer in software testing?
Mechanical engineer and software testing. That's a contradict question. Um, if you want to call it as a software testing, then you need to know all the testing techniques and different software testing tools that you can play, either functional tester or a non-functional tester. So you need to learn on the software side. So I don't think mechanical is going to help in the software testing field, but you definitely can be transformed to any position to another position. So it's all in your hand and the learning path. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Mr. Marlins. Is DevOps better than Agile?
Yes and no. Yes, definitely DevOps is better, but Agile and DevOps both are, as I explained in the slide, right? So both are no, filling the gap between the customer, developer, and the infrastructure. So currently in the market, both Agile and the DevOps playing the role together. Yes, you need to know both.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Dr. Nalini Joseph. Job opportunities for DevOps in future. What is the job opportunities for DevOps in future?
I would say currently it's a very hot market, and in the future, yes, it's definitely going to boom. And I would say in US market, there's a lot of SDAT is in demand, and who knows all things together, who knows to create the code, do deploy, and do all this operations work, and make sure the entire software testing is running as a team. So previously, individual user will be taking care of his own roles and responsibility, but right now that's not the case. A person need to know everything in and out. Yeah, so SDAT is really hot market. Yes.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Mr. Ramachandran. What is the basic knowledge required to learn DevOps?
Again, as I explained in the
What is
slide,
the
the
basic
basic,
knowledge
yeah, basic testing
required to learn
knowledge.
DevOps?
Yeah, so you need to know all this testing techniques, whatever I have explained. So you need to know what are the different types of testings available, what are the methodologies, and each methodology, what are the, if you are a functional tester, you have a different set of roles and responsibility, different set of softwares, different set of deliverables to use. Similarly, for non-functional tester, automation or performance, you need to have own set of skill sets. So yeah, those are you need to know stage by stage. You need to know testing, you need to know tools, you need to know the current market, what are the different type of technologies are introduced in the field, how these technology are incorporated in any softwares, and how we are going to test it, how we are going to develop it, and how the customer is going to have a flawless product. All this are involved. Yep. Thank you. Hope I
Thank you,
answered
sir.
your question.
The next question is from Gopi Krishna. Yes.
Mhm.
Did DevOps use machine language concepts, machine learning concepts?
Um, yes and no. Machine learning is a separate topic altogether, and DevOps is a different topic altogether. But as you see, how this DevOps solution is evolved is through the machine learning concept, kind of, I would say. So there are different topics are taken and different feedbacks are taken, and based on the different softwares are introduced. Now all the softwares are working all together, which is machine learning again. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering all the questions. Over to Jasmine, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. We are getting many questions from YouTube live stream also. I will hand it over to Mrs. Priya, Officer, Department of ECE for YouTube live stream questions. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you for presenting interesting and information session, sir. We have some questions from our YouTube live streaming. The first question is from Aruna Kumari. How DevOps applications are useful in data science?
Data science. Again, that's another vast industry like machine learning and data science. Data science is a different topic altogether, but there are, again, softwares are there to test and develop things over there, but DevOps is something different. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, it is from Harshavandini. What is the role of biomedical engineers in software development?
Biomedical engineer. That's an interesting question. That's really an interesting question. Sorry, to answer that question, probably I need to know more about biomedical engineering, what he will do. Sorry, I could not answer that question.
Okay, thank you, sir. The next question is any use case where DevOps can be used in real time, live or industry?
Yes, it can be used. If you take any industry, any real time, yes, you can use DevOps.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your patient answering to all the questions. It was very informative and knowledge sharing, sir. Over to Jasmine.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your enlightening response. We have covered most of questions from chat box. If your questions was not answered, we will get back to you through mail. Dear participants, there is an announcement regarding tomorrow's session. Over to Indu, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear participants, tomorrow we are conducting a live webinar on automation and robotics with an international speaker. All the participants are cordially invited for the webinar. Kindly register for tomorrow's webinar and make it a grand success. The registration link is available in chat box. Kindly fill the registration link and join our WhatsApp group for further updates. Thank you one and all. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear participants, we posted feedback form link in both GoToMeeting and YouTube chat box. Kindly fill all details and send to us. You will receive your e-certificate within 2 days. If you find any difficulties in feedback link, it may be due to congestion in server. So wait for a few minutes and try again. Thank you. Now we reached the end of the session. I request
Thank you.
Assistant Professor Mrs. Indumadi to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. I deem it a great honor to propose the vote of thanks to all those who have helped us in making this webinar such a resounding success. First of all, I would like to propose a hearty vote of thanks to our speaker, Mr. Vishnu Prakash, for gracing your precious time with us. It was a detailed explanation about software testing, types of testing, and also about the life cycle of testing and recent testing methodologies used, which gave us an in-depth knowledge on DevOps. I would like to express a profound gratitude to our management, administrator, principal for giving us the opportunity to host this webinar. I thank our Vice Principal, our convener, Dr. Nalini Joseph, for mentoring us in the right path for the success of this webinar. I thank all the coordinators and the faculty members of EC department for your great support. I also thank all the participants for your kind cooperation throughout the session. Thank you one and all.
Thank you.
All participants, kindly fill the feedback form and you can leave the meeting. You will receive e-certificate within 2 days. Thank you one and all. Once again, all the participants, fill your feedback form and leave the meeting.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for, yeah.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you.
It's a very, very informative session, Vishnu. You made the session great,
All
and
right.
I
Thank you.
feel so happy that Your session was very, very informative and useful to the student as well as the faculty of various colleges who attended this program. We'll send all the
Oh,
queries to you.
all right.
Thanks a
Thank you
lot,
so much.
Vishnu.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you
You
so
made us
much for
proud. We
arranging.
are honored by your.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Once again, yeah, sorry for interrupting. I am Pungudi. I am classmate of Nalini. I just want one PPT to be projected. Can you do that, please, Vishnu? One
Uh,
slide.
one
The
slide. Yeah, yeah,
one before certificate slide.
yeah.
Certification
Sure,
slide.
sure, sure. So, can you make me as presenter, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
I'll
is
do
all.
it. I'll do it.
We are getting that.
Before the certification.
Yeah. So I was taking screenshots of your presentation. I just missed that one.
Oh, okay. I can.
Indu, make Sar as presenter.
Ma'am, I'm doing, ma'am. Just a minute, ma'am.
Ah,
Organizers, kindly excuse me.
It's okay,
no
ma'am.
problem issue. No issue. We'll share all the PPTs with the concern of the speakers.
Yes, thank you.
Sir has left, I think so, ma'am. His name is not
Sar
there.
has left.
One second.
Vishnu, are you there?
Nalini, I think he has left. It's okay.
Okay. Huh?
If you, okay, it's okay.
Pungudi, I will get you the slide. Okay. Don't worry.
Okay. Wonderful
We'll get all the
presentation.
PPTs.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you.